What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode number 2 of the Summer Bankroll Challenge. For those of you who are new here, my name's Dookie Betts, and this summer I'm going to be trying to make $10,000 in about 400 hours playing live poker. If you guys enjoy this challenge and you want to see more, make sure to go down below and hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out quite a bit. Today is currently day 6 of the challenge. We left off on the end of day 3. And today we're going to be driving up to New Hampshire and we're going to play at the Nash in Nashua. Before we get into that session, we have 2 more sessions to recap, so we're going to do that right now. So episode number 1 left off the end of day 3 once I got done editing that video. After I was done with that, we drove the car up to Lincoln, Rhode Island, and we played at Bally's Twin River. We hopped into a 1-2 session that went about 7 hours. We were in for 600, out for 1,855. for a massive profit of $1,255. Obviously, at Bally's I can't film when I'm playing, so I was doing Instagram updates for the entirety of the session. If you guys want to check that out, go follow me on Instagram down below as well. I'll leave a link down there. So yeah, really good stuff in that session. We got the challenge off on the right foot for sure, and following that, we were up about $2,000 in the challenge this summer. The next day, we played at a private game in Rhode Island once again. We played 4 hours in that. We were in for 1,000, and we were out for 760. So yeah, that session was a little bit of a heat check for us. I actually filmed at that game, but there was really nothing all that interesting, so I didn't include any of those clips in the video today. So yeah, that's going to bring us to the current day. As you guys can clearly see over here, or wherever I'm putting it, we're currently up $1,835 on the challenge thus far, and about 19.5 hours of work. I'll be using Left Pocket Bankroll Tracker to keep track of all my data in this challenge for the entirety of the summer. Left Pocket is a tracking app that I've been using for quite a while now. I really like the simple interface and the ability to access all of your stats all on one page. You can see your hourly, your win rate, your profitability in certain games. Yeah, this tool has really been very useful for me because I can see stuff like best days of the week to play, best venues to play at. I can see where I'm excelling in poker and where I'm kind of struggling a little bit. Within the app, you can also get access to guided meditations, which you can take right before you play a session, which will certainly get you in the right mindset to go crush in your poker games. If you guys want to go check out Left Pocket Bankroll Tracker and get access to all of the very insightful data that they have to offer you, go click the link down below. So yeah, we've gotten off to a very nice start for the summer thus far. Hopefully we can keep the heat rolling as we play session number 4 up in New Hampshire today. We're going to hop in the car, we're going to take the nearly 2-hour drive up there, and hopefully we can get into a spicy 1-2 or 1-3 game. And yeah guys, without further ado, let's hop into some hands, and as always, let's turn some sand into gold. Alright vlog, so quick change of plans here. Driving up to New Hampshire right now. I just checked out Poker Atlas because we're about an hour away. The Nash has 2 games going right now, and Gate City has 11. 3-1-3 match the stacks as well, which is sort of unheard of, I think. Usually it's only 1 or 2. So for that reason, I'm going to go to Gate City instead, and we're going to go turn some sand into gold. Let's rock. We hop into the session at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we don't really play anything meaningful for a while. We're bumped from table to table because the first game we were at broke. We played a little bit of 1-2, and then we finally got back into the 1-3 match the stack game at around 6 o'clock. We're playing 1-3-5 with the mandatory 5 on all night long. In this hand, we see the hijack player open to $15 and the cutoff player puts in the call. I peel pocket 4s on the button and I decide to flat here in attempts to set mine. We see the small blind as well as the straddle call behind, so we're getting a very nice price to go ahead and flop a 4. We get a flop of Jack 3 deuce with 2 hearts, so our wishes go unfulfilled. It ends up checking around to us here, and with no set going 5 ways, I see absolutely no reason to be betting, so we decide to check things behind. The turn rolls off the 5 of diamonds, so we pick up some additional equity in the form of a straight draw. It's going to check around to the hijack player here, and he's now going to fire for 40 bucks, going about half pot. We see the cutoff player call, and now we're calling 40 to win about 200, so we're getting a pretty solid price here with our equity. We decide to flick in the 40. We see both of the out of position players fold. So we're going 3 ways to the river. The river rolls off the jack of hearts and we do not improve. Both players in front of us now check, and I briefly consider bluffing in attempts to steal this pot. Given we're still 3 ways here, I decide not to, fearing it's going to be too difficult to try and get both of these players to fold. For what it's worth, I also have a sliver of showdown value, I think, so we decide to check behind. The hijack rolls over ace high, and the cutoff has 6-5 of clubs for second pair. I think both of these hands are probably folding to a large bet, but obviously it's tough to put them on these specific hands. Maybe we should have bluffed at this one, but it's still early and there's plenty of poker left to be played. After this hand a bit later, we peel ace-10 of spades under the gun, open things up to $15, quickly face a 3-bet from the button player, and decide to peel. We take a flop here and completely miss. We check fold on the flop, and then pretty quickly add on for another $200. That brings us to our next meaningful hand of the session. About 20 minutes later, we're now in the game for $700 and we're stuck a few $100s thus far on the day. It's gonna fold around to us in the small blind. We peel ace-jack offsuit and we open things up to $20, going a bit larger than our standard 3x, given we'll be navigating this entire hand out of position. Both the big blind and the straddle chuck in 20 and we're gonna go 3 ways to a flop. We get a marvelous flop of king queen 10 rainbow board. That's right, we flop the nuts. We decide to start with a check, playing out of position here, and it ends up checking over to the straddle player who fires out for $35, going about half pot. With the flopped straight here, we're unblocking all of his pairs and 2-pair combos, so we have a mandatory fast play. We check raise things up to $140, going about 4x his bet. The big blind folds, and after a bit of consideration, the straddle player flicks in the call. Going heads up to the turn, we get the jack of clubs. I'm not the biggest fan of this turn card because it's going to make our life much more difficult in order to get paid, and we're also chopping if he has any sort of ace-x. I think a fair amount of my check raising range on the flop is going to be hands like sets, as well as potentially 1-pair hands containing a jack, hands like king jack, queen jack, jack 10 maybe. If I had any of these hands, I would likely start to shut down on this 4-liner turn card. Additionally, this opponent is certainly capable of finding interesting bluffs, so for all of these reasons, we decide to play this one really weird and find the check here after check raising on the flop. After some thought, the straddle player comes out for a bet of $100. I have about 560 left in my stack, and I could definitely get all the money in now, but I think it's fairly likely that this player is going to have a bluff here sometimes. So for those reasons, I'd like to keep him around and give him the ability to bluff it off on the river. For that reason, we just call. The river comes the 10 of hearts. We stick to our plan and check the river. This player shoves all in, covering us, and I now throw up onto the table. I think it's really difficult for this player to have boats because all of the sets on this board should be 3-betting pre-flop, and this player certainly isn't shying away from finding standard 3-bets. I also don't think he's betting the turn with a 2-pair combo like king 10, queen 10, or jack 10 after I check raise on the flop and the 4-liner comes in. For these reasons, we call relatively quickly, expecting to chop or win against some sort of lunatic bluff. We call and he announces boat. He flips over king 10, and I was honestly really taken back by this hand because, like I said, I did not expect this player to ever fire the turn with 2-pair. Super frustrating hand, and we quickly add on for another $800. We're now in the session for $1,500. This is honestly a very interesting hand, and we definitely could have played it very differently. So all of that being said, I'm super curious what you guys have to say about this hand. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Feeling quite a bit of frustration setting in, we take a quick walk and eat a bacon cheeseburger. About an hour later, we're back in the mix. We see the hijack player limp for $5, and this is followed by a button raise to $25. The small blind flats, we peel pocket jacks and raise things up to $105. This is a bit too small. I forgot to account for the small blind flat, so that being said, I should make this raise more like $125. $130. It's going to end up folding back to the button player who flicks in the call, and we're going to go heads up to a flop with about $250 in the middle. We get a not so nice ace high flop, specifically ace 4-3 two-tone with 2 clubs. We start with a check, and the button now fires for $115. In game, I thought folding to 1 bet here would be extremely premature, so I flicked in the call. The turn rolls off the 8 of spades, and this changes absolutely nothing. I check once again, the button's gonna end up going all in, covering me for about 580 effective. I pretty much snap fold, and once again, I'm feeling the frustration setting in. In hindsight, folding the flop is definitely better than calling with no real plan of attack on the turn or the river, especially considering that I don't have a backdoor with my specific combo of jacks. If I have the jack of clubs, I think there's a better argument for peeling the flop, but because I don't, I should just be ditching this hand on the flop and saving myself $115. I add on for another 500 bucks, and we're now in the game for $2,000. Pretty much all of my profits so far this summer are now on the table. We're about 10.5 minutes into this vlog, and I still haven't won a hand yet, so that's certainly not ideal. That brings us to the next hand of the day. We're now playing 6-handed. We peel queen jack offsuit under the gun, aka the low jack, because we're 6-handed. We open things up to $15 and see the hijack, button, big blind, and the straddle come along, so we're gonna go 5 ways to a flop here. We get a flop of 10-9-4 rainbow board. We got the open ender as well as 2 overcards to the board. We see 2 quick checks from the blinds, and with multiple players behind me still to act, I decide to check here. It ends up checking all the way around, and we get the magical king of clubs on the turn. We turn the nuts here, and once again we see the big blind as well as the straddle check, and we now need to go for value. We fire out for $35, going about half pot. I could probably go a bit bigger here, but when we're playing a 5-way pot, I think half pot is probably about as big as we should be going. We see the button as well as the big blind player call, so we're gonna go 3 ways to the river. The river rolls off the jack of clubs, so this brings in the backdoor flush draws. We now see the big blind player lead for $60, and this really just screams, I have a flush. Obviously raising is out of the question now, especially when we have no removal to any flushes in our hand. For this size, it really stinks because I don't think we can ever fold, just in case he's randomly button clicking with something like 2 pair. We call the $60, the button player folds, and unfortunately, we lose to 7-3 of clubs. Nice. After this hand, I could feel myself seething with anger. Pretty much every spot we've played today, we've either gotten really frustrating runouts, completely misplayed our hand, or some combination of both. We took another walk to mentally reset ourselves, and following this hand, we played what would be the last significant hand of the night. About an hour later, we're back to 7-handed, and we pick up pocket kings under the gun. We open things up to $15 and see the player next to act min click us to 30 bucks. It folds over to the straddle player, who calls the 30 bucks, and it's back over to us. We got a mandatory 4-bet incoming, and we choose a size of $125. This gets the hijack player to call and the straddle to fold, so we're gonna go heads up to a flop with about 280 in the middle. We get a very nice flop of king queen 9 with 2 diamonds. We flop top set and start with a check because this hijack player has been very stab happy so far tonight. Much to our delight, he finds the very large stab of $200. When this player chooses this huge size in a 4-bet pot, he's pretty much saying, I really like my hand. A wise man by the name of Alvin Teaches Poker once told me an ancient Chinese saying, he who tries to milk a whale is a dumbass. He might have stolen that from Confucius, but either way, it's very profound and certainly good advice. All in? That being said, we jam all in for $688 effective, and this player puts in the call. We're headed to a run out with almost 1.7k in the middle. We get the 10 of hearts on the turn and the 8 of hearts on the river. My heart drops. How can we possibly be good on this board? Through some miracle, the hijack player rolls over 5-3 of diamonds, and we are good. After getting absolutely clobbered for the last couple of hours, I can't even tell you guys how relieved I felt after I won this hand, and pretty much undid the majority of the damage from the hands prior. After this hand, we played until about 11 at night, but nothing really all that significant came of it, so we cashed out and headed home. All right, vlog, we're in the car. We just wrapped up. It's 11 o'clock at night, so we played for about 6 hours today, pretty much exactly 6 hours. Today was a weird one. We showed good discipline for the majority of the session, so I'm happy about that. I'm also really glad that I kept my head on straight after losing that big one against King 10 early in the day. I didn't really think he could have any sets as played, and it's like really hard to have a boat there when I check the turn and he bets like 2-pair on a 4-liner, so I really didn't think he had any boats. I kind of just snapped it off, and some miracle of God blessed him with King 10, I guess. I guess I should just like fold anyways because nobody really bluffs, but I don't think that hand can be that bad, but I guess we'll see. once we edited it up. The only other thing I was sort of unhappy with was when I called on the flop with jacks on the ace-high board. That might make the video, it might not, I'm not really sure. And then our day was somewhat saved with that king's hand against one of the craziest call-offs I've seen, so all things considered, I think is fine. We're gonna have sessions like this throughout the challenge, so I don't really mind. And yeah, we were stuck like 1,400 at one point, 1,300 at one point, so we kind of scratched and clawed our way back, which is nice. But yeah, if we're gonna do this challenge and we're gonna complete this thing, we're gonna need really good discipline through playing a shitload and also editing a shitload. And we're just gonna need to keep our head on straight, and we're gonna need to remain consistent for the entirety of the summer. So having sessions like this where things don't go our way and being able to bounce back and just like keep a level head through the entire thing is super important. So I'm happy that we displayed some sort of ability to do that tonight, if that makes any sense. Overall, we lost, and I don't think I played as good as I could have possibly played, but our mentals were good, and I think that's super important. So let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comments below. I'll probably do some sort of outro in my room later today once I start editing this thing, but these were just my thoughts in game pretty much, and like immediately after the session ended. So let me know what you guys think. Kind of just rambled for like 3 minutes, but I just kind of wanted to like speak from the heart and show you guys where I'm coming from post session. So yeah. And yeah, guys, that's going to bring us to the current day. Today's Friday the 16th. It's currently day 8 of the challenge. That last session was played 2 days ago on day 6. All in all, we are in for $2,000, out for $1,410. So we booked a loss of $590 in about 6 hours of work. That brings our challenge totals to being up $1,245 in about 25.5 hours of work. So the hourly is still exceeding $25, but very limited sample size, so obviously it doesn't really mean that much at this point in time. Like I said in the last video, guys, I'm 100% committed to this YouTube thing all summer long. Rather than getting an internship or a job, I'm doing this. So if you guys enjoy what you're watching and you want to see more, make sure to go down below, hit the like and subscribe buttons. It's going to help me out a ton. And yeah, it'll help me prove to my skeptical mother that I can actually make it on YouTube, so that's pretty cool as well. The next video is going to come out next week at some point. I'm not really sure exactly when, but we have a couple sessions planned for the upcoming days, so those will be fun. Hopefully we can get those on video. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys. If you enjoyed the vlog, you want to see more, go subscribe down below. And until next time, guys, I'm Dookie Betts.